Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2017, where today, as you might have seen in the announcement on Sunday, we are going to be featuring the recently and very hyped deck Mega Scizor EX with Garbodor. Now, Mega Scizor is a really nice card at the moment in the format because fairy type decks are gaining a lot of popularity, both Rainbow Road and Xerneas Break with Giratina. They are ranked amongst the highest or the top tier decks in the format right now. There's also Vespiquen making the rounds, and Mega Scizor is a high HP Mega Pokemon. Deals enough damage to one-hit KO all of those Pokemon I previously mentioned, and it also offers energy denial along with the crushing hammers and Team Flare Grunt that you see on the list, which can help you slow down the game and potentially lock your opponent out of attacking options. So Scizor EX is also a pretty nice card for 2 energy. If you promote something, if you promote something and then bring Scizor EX up, you actually deal extra damage with Gale Thrust. 2 metal energy for 50 damage is nothing too exciting, but 2 energy for 110 damage, now that's pretty good. And then we have Steel Wing, which reduces damage, which in the early turns could be useful. Now, the main card of the deck is of course Mega Scizor EX, 220 HP, that's pretty good. Psychic Resistance is nice because it offers protection against Mega Mewtwo EX, or extra protection if you will. And attacks for only 2 energy, so you won't be too hard pressed to, or you won't be powering up Mewtwo's attack yourself. Iron Crusher, 120 damage, as I mentioned, it one-hit KOs all the metal weak fairy type Pokemon that are out there, both Mega Garbodor, Xerneas, all of that. And you get to either discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon or a stadium card in play. So not only do you get to deny energy to Rayquaza, you also get to remove their stadium, forcing them to find another stadium and more basic Pokemon if they want to try and one-hit KO Mega Scizor. And the same applies to Xerneas Break. Xerneas from Rainbow Road, rather, not Xerneas Break. So definitely a pretty interesting card. It's on no play, virtually no play in the previous format, but right now with the way the metagame is shifting or shaping up, Mega Scizor is a very good option. But now there's a big issue here. We do have Garbodor as support, right, which shuts down abilities, helps you further lock down your opponent, shuts down Giratina, which is pretty important, but there's a really big problem here, and that is Volcanion. You have absolutely no way to deal with Volcanion. A Fighting Fury belted baby Volcanion or a regular Volcanion EX simply just runs over your deck. Now, if you get lucky with the energy denial, if you get a fast start, then maybe you have a shot, but it's a really bad matchup. So it should be interesting to see how the metagame develops between all the Mega Pokemon such as Mega Scizor, Mega Mewtwo, Mega Rayquaza, potentially Primal Groudon, and then with the non-Mega Pokemon decks such as Darkrai Giratina, Xerneas Break Giratina, Rainbow Road, and finally, I forgot the name of the deck. Volcanion. So, those are the Pokemon. We have 1 Hoop and 2 Shaymin X, which is becoming the standard for all Mega type Pokemon decks. They're both very useful support Pokemon. And then we have 4 Sycamore, 3 N, 2 Lysander. Now, this is pretty much the standard I've been running lately. You could make an argument for a 4th N. I don't think this deck needs it, or like a 4th N is really nice for consistency purposes, but because this deck does have other options or alternatives with energy denial and things like that, you need to find the space somewhere. So we have the 1 Team Flare Grunt in order to help us with the energy denial. For example, if you're attacking a Mega Rayquaza and you use Team Flare Grunt and then use Iron Crusher, then you deny all energy off of the Mega Rayquaza, which is really nice. And then we have the 4 Crushing Hammer, which obviously you would expect to flip 2 heads every game, and helps you deny basic energy along with the special energy you are already denying. Then we have 2 Mega Turbos, which obviously help power up Mega Scizor, We have 4 Berserkers, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Trainer's Mail for consistency purposes. We have our 4 Spirit Links so that we have the highest amount of chances to draw them, and so we don't lose a turn Mega Evolving. 3 Floatstone for Garbodor, of course, and then we have 2 Parallel City, which are obviously the best stadium here. It helps us further against Rainbow Road, and Mega Rayquaza can help you save or remove potential free prizes for your opponent or things they can lock in the active slot, such as Hoopa. And 10 Metal Energy, because that seems like a very consistent amount. So this is the list. It's pretty similar to many other lists currently being shown, and it makes sense because it's pretty consistent, pretty fast, and yeah, let's give it a try, shall we? We will be, oh, the versus ladder just reset. I hadn't been able to record the videos for this week because the game was down on Friday and most of Saturday, but yeah, I'm really excited to record this. As you can see, I've already prepared the second deck for the Pokédex week, which it was really well received. Like, I'm really glad you guys showed support to that. I was really nervous because it's something, well, brand new, and of course spoilers, if you haven't watched the video yet, pause and go back if you don't want to find out. But I did lose all 3 games I featured. The deck didn't do so well, so yeah, there's just no guarantee that the decks will be super competitive or that we will win any game at all. But I definitely had fun, and it will be fun just week after week, trying out new Pokemon, trying out different things. Next week we are going to feature the Mega Charizard from Generations. Then we are going to feature Mega Blastoise most likely, although we could feature the old Blastoise. Not entirely sure which is better. We are going second, so I'm gonna start Scizor instead of Trubbish. Otherwise I would have started Trubbish. And yeah, definitely a lot of exciting things to come. I'm very happy that it was so well received from a lot of you guys. Maybe I should have started Trubbish so that I could get the extra damage off. Okay, but it's no big deal, I think. I hope. Oh, we don't. Well, as long as I get the Floatstone on the Trubbish and he doesn't Lysander KO, we should be good. Okay, he even plays the Escape Rope already, so that's okay that's okay by me. And yeah, they're real. I am the real. So hello there, anime boy. And okay, so looks like he didn't get too good a start. If we actually find some energy off of, okay, Parallel City is not going to be too important, really. I'm going to limit his bench just because, and if I get energy off of the Shaman, I will simply play the Team Flare Grunt. But I do not get energy. Okay, I do get a Mega Scizor, which I would be discarding. There's no guarantees, man. Okay, so I flip heads. That's pretty lucky. Now let's see if I get an N here. No, but I do get an Ultra Ball. The issue is the energy. I mean, would it be worth it? I think I'm not gonna grab anything. I will play the Sycamore. I think I can afford to discard the Mega Scizor. Maybe instead of running 4-3, I should run 1 Super Rod here instead. But I didn't get the energy anyways. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay. Oh boy, I guess I'll have to pass here. Next turn, looks like we're gonna have to discard a ton of things as well. Ton of resources. But okay. He top decks an Ultra Ball, which does mean that he will be able to, to find Hoopa and therefore find Shaman and set up. That was definitely his top deck, otherwise he would have done this the previous turn. And yeah, I leave Trubbish active because I don't think we're at a risk of it getting KO'd. My opponent would need a really, really sick turn, and Yeah, originally, oh wow, maybe he forgot the stadium. Oh, maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Wow, yeah, second, what? Okay. So if he had the Ultra Ball and the Sycamore, why? Wow, and he whiffs the Max Elixir. Okay, my opponent's not getting too lucky. But if he had both, I do not know why he didn't play one or the other the previous turn. Not entirely sure. Okay, the third Max Elixir now. So if he does have the Float Stone, he could actually KO my Trubbish, which would be really bad. Does find the energy. Okay, he doesn't. Wow, that was really bad. Okay, gonna evolve into Mega Scizor. I will evolve into Garbodor because we are no longer at a threat of getting locked down by Giratina. I do flip another head, which is really lucky, and then I kind of want to just Sycamore. I mean, I could find more Scizor. Okay, I will find more Scizor then. Oh. You guys did not just see that. Wow, that was absolutely terrible. That was absolutely terrible. What? What? We are halfway through our deck and we have yet to see any energy. This is really bad. This is generally really bad. No energy whatsoever. Wow. This is bad. How many energy do we have priced then? How many energy do we have priced? Okay, I'm gonna retreat into Hoopa because they both have the Float Stone. Oh boy. Okay, I apologize for playing Hoopa after I played down the Garbodor. That was really bad. Really bad. The Fighting Fury Belt doesn't save him from getting to it KO'd, so I'm perfectly fine with that. My opponent does Xerneas, which is very nice of him. And if he only plays Parallel City, looks like he might be 100%. Okay, yeah, now I find now I find 3 metal energy. Okay. Okay, he's definitely gonna sacrifice the... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say he was definitely gonna sacrifice the Giratina, but that's not gonna be the case. Unless I find an Ultra Ball here, I still won't be able to attack right now. I'm gonna attach an energy here. He only dealt 90 damage, but if I cannot attack this turn, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So I would need to find an Ultra Ball and a Mega Turbo, which is not likely. Okay, maybe I can find the Mega Turbo. Okay, I'm going to Ultra Ball away the energy and the Garbodor, make my deck thinner by finding the Mega. And wow, we only have 1 energy prize, so losing those 2 turns of energy placement is really bad. But maybe we can make up for it here. Yes! Okay, perfect. Well, not perfect, but this is definitely a good start. Because we start to put pressure onto the Darkrai. And I don't know, I feel like we should have the advantage here, kind of. Because we can start removing energy with the Verse Seekers into Team Flare Grunts. I'm not gonna remove the Stadium. There's no need. And we deal 120 damage. So, by having the ability to remove energy, we might save our Mega Scizor from getting 2-hit KO'd, which would be really awesome. The Fighting Fury Belt on the Hoopa means that if we somehow, if we need to Lysander up something, we can Lysander up the Hoopa, and unless he has a switching card, we should be able to lock down the game by KOing the Hoopa. so that's pretty good. My opponent did attach to Giratina as well, so maybe he's looking towards potential. Maybe he's looking towards a potential. Okay, if I KO him here, he shouldn't have enough energy to KO me back, right? Unless with a double dragon energy he would, but then he didn't attach to Darkrai. He's now dealing 110 damage. He would deal 110 damage next turn, but he would need an energy switch or his 4th max elixir to hit. So the safe play here, I guess, is to retreat into the Scizor, use the Mega Turbo, and that way I prevent my opponent from getting any prize cards. He could Lysander up the Mega Scizor, that's for sure. So maybe not such a great idea, but it's not that big a deal, right? I think. Okay. We also can potentially find the Mega Scizor next turn, but I'm just gonna take the 2 prizes. I'm not gonna discard the stadium, as I mentioned. Giratina doesn't threaten us too much, and yeah, we get our first 2 prizes: a Crushing Hammer and an Ultra Ball. Now, you'd expect Crushing Hammer to flip 2 tails in a row. The next Crushing Hammers to flip 2 tails in a row. He did find the Max Elixir, but he whiffed. He actually whiffed, so he would have been able to KO me if he had connected. 4-7, yeah, that was kind of unlucky that he didn't hit the energy. Maybe, no, he's not gonna Lysander. Okay, I have no problem with that. I definitely have no issue with that. I would like to find a switching card though, although if he does Lysander, it'll probably be for the KO. He only deals 90 damage this time around, so I have 2 choices here. I can go the safe route and go Verseeker, Team Fleur, Grunt. I'm gonna play the Crushing Hammer, but I'm generally hoping to flip tails because that would be average. Wow, that's really lucky. I'm getting too lucky. I'm getting too lucky with this flip. You're gonna see, guys, we're probably gonna have one game where I'm not gonna flip even 1 hit, and this game we've already flipped 3 hits, so it happens. I mean, the luck eventually evens out. And yeah, I could find the next Mega Scizor potentially, but I don't see a need really just yet. My opponent has no energy in play. He doesn't threaten me with an attack on Darkrai next turn. His only potential saving grace would be to power up Giratina, Lysander up the Garbodor, KO it, and that's why I'm not gonna Mega Evolve this Scizor EX until I know for certain. Okay, he chooses to Lysander the Shaman. I think that's a small mistake because Scizor EX, Mega Scizor EX has to retreat, so that would have definitely been the better choice, I think. And okay, I'm just gonna retreat, bring up the Mega once again. Because I want to thin out my deck as much as possible, I'm just gonna remove the N and the other Ultra Ball. I do have 2 Verseekers left, 1 Parallel City, 3 Energy, 1 Trubbish, so I'm gonna keep the Trubbish. And yeah, I'm just making sure that if my opponent does end me next turn, I can draw useful cards, potentially. But we do get our KO, we get our second Mega Pokemon, or not Mega Pokemon, our second Pokemon EX. We find our 4th Crushing Hammer. So not only did we have 2 prized, we actually were very lucky in that regard. Okay, my opponent does Chaos Wheel, which is perfectly fine for now. We do find a Verseeker. Now let's flip the Crushing Hammer. Are we gonna get our 4th hit? What? Wow. I swear I'm never this lucky. Wow, that's 4 out of 4 hits. Now, seeing this situation, I'm gonna power up this Mega Scizor. He asks if that was a misclick. Not really. No, not really. The energy, no. The energy on Mega Scizor? Nope. Maybe he doesn't realize I have Garbodor. So I attach the energy to Mega Scizor. Just in case he Lysanders, I only need 1 energy to retreat either Scizor EX, Mega Scizor EX, or the Shaman EX. Because if I attach the energy to the regular Scizor EX and he promotes the Mega Scizor, then I'm stuck. He might deck me out, something weird. So I'm just trying to guarantee that my opponent has no way to come back from this, that he can in no way deck me out and he can no way delay me from winning this game. So yeah, he will get a KO on the Mega Scizor, and well, I mean, he will get a KO, so I don't know. Oh, that's right. Ah, whoops. Oh, right. Whoops, he's totally right. What I should have done was select a Darkness Energy and with Mega Scizor's attack, discard the Dragon Energy, the double Dragon Energy, and therefore he wouldn't have even been able to attack this turn. But I mean, at this point it doesn't matter, but that's definitely a mistake on my end. Not always easy to talk and try to think about absolutely everything. I try, but sometimes things escape from me, and I will be honest, I haven't played too much with Mega Scizor, so I did forget about the other part of the attack, because it kept asking me if I wanted to discard the stadium. I forgot I could also discard the double Dragon Energy. So yeah, that was definitely a mistake on my end. But I did get lucky with 4 Crushing Hammers. Maybe if I had whiffed the first few ones, especially where I delayed my opponent from setting up and I myself missed a ton of energy in the early game, maybe the game would have been a lot closer than it actually was. And yeah, that's what happens. So despite my my noob mistake, which I apologize for, we end up pulling off the win. And yeah, let's see what else we find here today. Hopefully we find some fairy type decks. I would really like that. Hopefully we avoid all fire type decks. I would really like that as well. Which, of course, as I say it, we find ourselves going up against a Volcanion EX deck. So we do get to go first. Maybe Energy Denial will be on our side this time around, but I generally, like, under normal conditions, I should never win this match. Under normal conditions, I should absolutely never, ever win this match. My opponent starting with Shaman is definitely a good start for us, in order for us to try and win this match. I do find an N. Now the question is, do I end my opponent? We don't know what he does have in his hand. All we know is he started with Shaman, so without any information, you can't really know if you're doing good or bad by using the N on turn 1. If you're playing against someone, then maybe you can see their facial expression, you can see their body language to determine if playing the N is a good idea or not. But without any information at this point in time, I'm not gonna find the Mega, actually. I'm gonna find the other Shaman. No, because I do want Garbodor, so I'm just gonna find those two. Without any information and without seeing my opponent, then it's 100% random, so there's no right or wrong answer, because you don't know what he has. So maybe I helped him, maybe I made it worse for him, I do not know. But if things work out in our favor, we might actually get a first turn KO on the Shaman EX. If he finds an energy and promotes the baby Volcanion, then we will not be that lucky. He does find an Ultra Ball, so he can find Hoopa. Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait, what? Water Energy and Winona. So is this a Mega Rayquaza Volcanion deck? No, because then what? I am so confused. I hope this Hoopa clarifies a little bit what the heck is going on. But I am really confused right now. I am really confused right about now. Okay, Manaphy, Shaman, and Mega Rayquaza. So yes, water type with Manaphy and water energy to free retreat, which makes sense. So now he can absolutely save the Shaman. But wow, he attaches to the Rayquaza. But what's the fire type? I have no clue what the fire type Pokemon actually is. Okay, he does Mega Evolve and ends his turn. So that means we will get a turn 2 KO on this Shaman, which is obviously really good. I mean, he will most likely return KO. Thing is, I don't know if I should end right now. I think I should, because if I don't end right about now, I will give my opponent 2 extra cards, but if I wait for next turn, then I will end for 2 less cards, and I need to have a backup Mega Scizor for next turn. Okay, this doesn't guarantee the backup Mega Scizor, but kind of helps out a little bit, I guess. I can actually find a Mega Scizor already. We'll find it there. We do have access to Shaman for next turn. We also have an N with the Verseeker, but Shaman is probably our best bet here. So gonna Iron Crusher, get myself 2 prize cards. Hopefully it's something useful. To have a follow-up Mega Scizor, we need to find a Mega Turbo, which we do off of our prizes, so that's really nice. That pretty much guarantees that we will remove the TCE at this point in time. I do expect my opponent to KO me back. It would make sense. I'm really glad this is not like the regular video game where Manaphy would be resistant to metal types. But this is really scary. This is really scary. Now that I have the Mega Turbo, my number 1 goal will be to find either Crushing Hammers. Oh wow, he just Emerald Breaks. He doesn't even get a KO. Wow. Okay, now we're talking, because there's 2 things I can do here. I could attack the Mega Rayquaza, or I could simply Lysander and KO the Manaphy. I could definitely see myself doing that. And by doing that, I mean, we would have the Mega Scizor as backup after he KOs this one. I mean, we're gonna have to deal with a Mega Rayquaza eventually, but if I attack him here, he loses the TCE. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go up in prices. Even though I won't discard the TCE, I will be able to discard the Stadium, which is good because that forces him to find another Stadium if he wants to go this guy. And if he doesn't end us, we have the win by KOing the Shaman, so that's pretty good. And we even find a Parallel City and Trubbish, so that's pretty good. So if my opponent doesn't end, he loses, which is great because Mega Rayquaza doesn't usually run a high count of end. At least not the ones I've seen, not the one I used. So I think we'll be okay here. I generally think we will be okay. And in any case, even if he does KO the Mega Scizor, he's still struggling for the Stadium. Okay, he does end us, so he does prevent himself from losing, if you will, on this turn. But I'm okay with that. We do even find a Crushing Hammer and a Trainer's Mail, so if we actually make it so that Mega Rayquaza loses all his energy, gonna be in an incredible position. And the Trainer's Mail could fetch us one of our 4 Sycamore, could potentially fetch us an Ultra Ball, which in that case I would definitely not play. I have to play a Trainer's Mail before the Crushing Hammer, because yeah, we're in a really good position, guys. We are in a really good position, even though we are down to 2 cards at the moment. Okay, obviously I have to promote the Mega Scizor. We find a Spirit Link. Okay, so I'm gonna Trainer's Mail, see what I get here. I do find another Crushing Hammer. So, if I do get one of 2 heads, we should be okay here. I do flip Tails, and now let's see what happens. I do flip 2 Tails, so it evens out from our previous game. I'm gonna keep the Spirit Link in my hand just in case I do find an Ultra Ball, and I'm just gonna Iron Crusher here, get rid of the DCE, and there we go. Now I'm not forgetting like the previous game, and he already attached 1, so he is forced to find a Stadium. Oh wow, okay, he can definitely simply attach another energy, that works. But if he doesn't one-hit KO me, which looks like he might, oh boy, are we going to lose because I got too greedy? Oh. He needs to find 3 more basic Pokemon. He needs to find 3 more basic, oh crap. And looks like he will be able to. Oh, oh boy. Oh boy. That's 6, that's 180 damage. Oh crap. Oh, oh man. We needed 1 of 2 heads. That's what we needed. Okay, he's Sycamores. So if he doesn't find 2 basic Pokemon, we should. Okay, 1. Oh no. Yikes. Oh boy. I got too greedy, I guess. He had the end and then he had everything. I mean, he needed. That's also another thing. He needed the perfect combination of cards this turn and the previous turn in order to get back into this. Wow. Okay. So I top deck the Sycamore, which might actually save me. Okay. Nothing yet, actually. Now it's up to Shaman to give us what we need, which is actually a Stadium. The only thing that saves us here is a Stadium. But nope. As you can see, my deck was full of useful cards that I could have hit off of the Trainer's Mail. Absolutely full of useful cards. And we also had the 2 heads flips off of the Crushing Hammer, but that's just not the case. So I'm gonna have to concede here. There's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do at this point. I don't know if I got too greedy. The odds of like all of this happening, I think we're so low. Like, I don't know. I don't think I played wrong by going after the Manaphy. I generally don't think I played that wrong. I simply got, like, in terms of variance, like on the really low end of variance, I think if that scenario plays out 9 out of 10 times, I probably win 9 out of, like, if that scenario plays out 10 times, I probably win 9 out of 10 times. But it just so happened that we hit the one time where we wouldn't win, because I mean, we had the 2 heads flips, or the 2 Crushing Hammers flips rather. We had the Trainer's Mail to hit a potential Verse Seeker to win, a potential Sycamore, a potential Stadium, a potential a lot of things, you know, a potential Ultra Ball. So there were a lot of things that could have gone our way, but everything didn't go our way. And my opponent also needed the absolute, like, perfect scenario or setup in order to get going, or to get everything in order to come back into the game. So yeah, things like that happen. It's part of the game. Like if it was a best of 3, I would still feel really comfortable going up against Mega Rayquaza. The games do go by pretty fast, and I think I would have enough time to win games 2 and 3 as long as something ridiculous like the previous game didn't happen. Or not ridiculous, but something kind of out of the norm, if you will. So I'm not gonna play the Shaman just yet in case my opponent does end me. By playing Shaman, I don't really gain any advantage right now because there's not too many cards I could play after the Shaman, but just in case your other Shaman is prized, or if for some reason your opponent ends you, you can still Ultra Ball for the Shaman instead of having it on your bench. By having it on my bench, that also would have meant that... Okay, so it's actually a Mega Scizor mirror match, and it does have the Cobalion, which is interesting. Wow, so energy removal will be at a premium here, and the Mega Turbos would be pretty amazing. Now Garbodor is useless, so I'm perfectly fine with that not being in play. Attacking the Cobalion will be pretty useless, or KOing the Cobalion rather will be pretty useless. So I might actually opt not to attack it until like I find a Lysander maybe, which I won't next turn most likely. Because if I KO the Cobalion, he comes up and attacks me, and then I attack him, and then I'm on the losing end of the price trade-off, if you will. If he retreats and promotes Scizor though, okay, which he doesn't, I would have been really surprised. Okay, so do I bench the Shaman? By not benching the Shaman, I actually have a chance here at denying him easy prizes, you know? I do not find the Mega, so I cannot even take a KO here. But I do have Lysander in my discard pile already, so next turn I can potentially get the first hit onto the Scizor EX, and that's what I'm playing towards. I want to prevent him from getting the first hit. I also want to save my Crushing Hammers for those kinds of scenarios. My opponent does play the Super Rod, so we do have different versions of the deck, even though it's a mirror match. He returns a Scizor, a Garbodor, and an Energy. Now the Garbodor is really weird. I don't see why you would play the Garbodor. He does end me, so he removes the Seekers, but we still have 4, so we still have a chance to hit one. And as long as we can attack first the Scizor, which looks like we won't be able to, well, we can find Shaman though. But I really didn't want to bench Shaman, because by not benching the Shaman, unless he retreats and attacks me first, by not benching the Shaman, I guess if he gets enough Mega Scizors and attack on... Okay, but he passes. He realizes that not attacking is most likely the best way to go about this. So I do not want to bench the Scizor, because I have no bench space. I do flip heads this time around, which is nice. And I am going to Ultra Ball away the Trubbish and the Stadium. There's no need for Garbodor here. I will go for Shaman, because maybe I should have gone for Mega Scizor. No, because I want to find the Lysander. I genuinely want to find the Lysander. Or the Seeker rather. Okay, I do find the Seeker. Perfect. So, with this Seeker, I will go for the Lysander. I will get the first hit off onto the Mega Scizor, which is obviously great. If he somehow doesn't have an energy, that would be great as well. And with the Ultra Ball, I am going to get rid of the Trubbish and the Team Flare Grunt. I feel like I don't really need those two cards. I will find the Mega Scizor just so that I can make sure I 2-hit KO his Mega Scizor. And yeah, the issue here is I don't have a good follow-up to this Mega Scizor. But if he does KO it, I can Shaman in order to find more resources, and that would definitely help us. And I can actually get rid of the stadium, which is really useful, really useful, as long as he doesn't play another one, because that frees up my bench space. I can actually draw more cards with Shaman, and he immediately goes for the Sycamore, discarding 2 Verse Seekers. That's really good for us in this mirror match. That is really good. There's already 3 Verse Seekers in his discard pile and 1 Lysander, so looks like Shaman is going to be pretty safe-ish on the bench. By removing the energy, he's actually going behind in the energy drops. I do even find another Verse Seeker, which is great, because that could guarantee that if he has to stall out for a turn with potentially Cobalion or something, that could mean we get to find or we get to promote whatever we want in order to attack it. I'll keep the Verse Seeker. That gives us more options, even though it does show my opponent that we have the Verse Seeker. I don't really mind that. And yeah, perfect. We get our KO. Now, if for some reason he attacked with Scizor in order to prevent 20 damage, we would still deal 100 damage, and then our follow-up Mega Scizor would still be able to one-hit KO the Mega, unless we ourselves couldn't find the Mega. My opponent does end me, so maybe playing Trainer Snail was not such a great idea. How many Ultra Balls have we played though? 3. So okay, we do get lucky with the Mega Scizor, and my opponent simply concedes. Okay, so we do win that mirror match. Definitely waiting was the right call. I don't think my opponent played Crushing Hammer, which is fair. It's definitely a fair way to look at the list. Energy Denial is nice, but it's not 100% necessary. Maybe you could definitely make an argument for consistency purposes in order to simply not play any Crushing Hammers. But I do like the Energy Denial, and I mean, I did flip 4 heads in the first game, which was obviously really good. You would expect to flip 2 on average every game, as long as you find, or maybe like not flip 2, get 2 heads. Probably flip 3 if you will. And yeah, it works. Okay, so I didn't pay attention to what my opponent is using, but based on this, you would imagine it's based on his deck box, it's a fairy type deck. I'm eating a chocolate mint. Okay. Okay. No Pokemon Ranger here is really dangerous. Really dangerous for us. Okay. Basically, this game, my Lysanders are going to be the most important cards, because we have to prevent my opponent from going to a scenario. Wow, this deck really needs Pokemon Ranger, right? Okay. Gonna grab those 3 off of the Hoopa. Basically, the Lysander will make it so that if he powers up the Glacian, we can target that. If he powers up the Regice, he shouldn't be able to attack on turn 1. With the Float Stone, we guarantee that the Hoopa will not get stuck active. But if Regice gets off 1 attack, we will lose, because I have no Pokemon Ranger right now. Okay. So we have to pass here. I don't want to bench the Trubbish either. I don't have a Float Stone to attach to it. And okay. My opponent does Ultra Ball. So as long as he benches more targets, we should be able to bypass whatever he tries to do, you know? Okay, he finds another Regice. And that's what he benches, that's what he will attach to. And he plays a Puzzle of Time. Does he have a second puzzle of time, or is he rearranging his top deck? Okay, he rearranges his top deck. And he will probably pass. Okay. See, here's the importance of the Lysander. We need to make sure we KO whatever has energy. So this Regice is the thing we need to KO right now. Maybe my opponent put a DCE as his top deck. If he powers up Glacian, it's not too big a deal, because okay, he promotes the Glacian. Yeah, if he does power up the Glacian, we can actually get a KO. Looks like his top deck was the Sycamore rather. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, he benches a Manaphy. That's good. That is good. Okay, I cannot attack here. I cannot take a prize. I have to wait for a good top deck. I have to wait for a good top deck. Basically force him to have to retreat. And he ends. Okay, that's great, because my hand was definitely not great. In order for him to power up the Regice and attack with it this turn, he would need either a switching card, but he attaches to the Regice. That's perfect, because we were lucky enough to... Okay, I'm not gonna evolve yet, just in case he does find a way to power up the Glacian. I do want to have a regular Scizor EX available to me, and there's the victory. Yeah. I don't know if my opponent didn't draw too well. Maybe he was lacking the max elixirs and energy switches. Not entirely sure, but that was definitely really threatening. And I mean, you do have the one-hit KO advantage because you are metal typing against Regice and Glacian. Glacian's not too big a deal, but Regice definitely is. So if you expect Regice to be popular, definitely try and fit a Pokemon Ranger into your list. Yeah, that was really scary. That was really scary. Really scary. Okay. And looks like we might be up against another one of those decks. So there's another thing that can happen. The damage output is not too high for that deck. They will always 3-hit KO your Pokemon. So you actually do have some room to play out and try to, like, if your opponent doesn't just play a single Regice and keeps attacking, then you should be okay. You generally should be okay. My hand definitely doesn't help our case. There's a captivating Pokepuff, which is interesting, and wow, it's actually Greninja. So with our current hand, we could definitely be in for a really rough matchup, simply because well, we are going to get a few mulligans off of this, but simply because we have no like immediate way to get Garbodor out. Once we get Garbodor out, it should be a fairly easy time, I guess. But without Garbodor, we could be in for a really rough time. Really rough time. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that will not be the case. Okay. Okay. So what else? Wow, no basic Pokemon. So he did have the Talonflame, and he was trying to decide if it was worth it to start off with it, but he chose not to, which is interesting. We did see Rare Candy. Another very interesting card. I do get to draw a ton of cards, 3. And yeah, there's the card. Wow, we even draw the Garbodor line like right away, which is really cool. Because we actually now have pretty much a perfect setup, if you will. Pretty much a perfect setup. Okay, so I will attach an energy. We do have the KO on the Froakie, guaranteed next turn. I could Ultra Ball away the Sycamore and the energy, but just based on the previous games, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna wait and see what I top deck. The turn 2 Garbodor is going to be absolutely crippling for my opponent, I would imagine. He does have the Bursting Balloon, which is nice. He might try to paralyze me, but I feel like that's kind of a waste. Although, I mean, because, okay, he does paralyze me, which obviously doesn't matter. The Bursting Balloon is annoying though. The Bursting Balloon is definitely annoying. But the Garbodor is already up. Maybe I should have waited to use Shaman and things like that. Now we actually don't get access to Shaman, but that's okay. That's okay. Definitely pay more attention, guys, not like I am, and be aware of when you play down the Garbodor and if you want to use any abilities beforehand. That's something I'm not doing. I'm just playing the card automatically, and it's something I should not be doing, and something I do not do when playing in tournaments. It does happen to me right now because talking and whatever, but yeah, there's no way I don't take a KO here. There's absolutely no way, despite the Bursting Balloon rather. You cannot afford to give Greninja any turns where you don't attack, and you need to get ahead, like really ahead in prices before they get their Greninja breaks active, because that could be a really big issue. Okay, my opponent does have Ace Trainer, which brings us down to 3 cards, which sucks because we don't have Shaman as an out here. He does find the Frogadier, which is good for him obviously. And yeah, this time around I'm gonna play the Parallel CD, but I'm gonna limit his damage instead of his bench. And yeah, hopefully if one Frogadier is priced, we should still be good here. No Frogadiers are priced though, so that will make things harder for us. I do get my energy. I will play the Parallel CD, and I do want to reduce his damage output. And then I'm going to end my opponent's. Give him an extra card, but I do find more resources for myself. Potentially a Mega Scizor, potentially another Scizor for the Spirit Link, but as we have seen, the ends are at a premium, so I will not be playing any of the cards just yet, because if my opponent does end me, then I have more chances of drawing those cards next turn, and we even unlock a Mega Scizor off of our prices, which is pretty great. There's a Frogadier. Okay, so basically, yeah, we're in for a rough time here. Despite no abilities, our limited damage output could become an issue right now. Would generally become an issue because we are 10 damage short of KOing any Greninjas, and without a constant stream of Lysanders and things like that, we could actually be in a lot of trouble here, especially with those Bursting Balloons. Helping my opponent in KOing us. Okay, and well, the splash doesn't really matter. He will obviously not be doing Shadow Stitching. He should always go for Moonlight Slash. There's no reason to use Moonlight or Shadow Stitching, or to even leave the energy attached. But that's exactly what he chooses to do, which is a really, really big mistake. I can remove it, which, I mean, discarding any energy is always good. I will find myself another Mega Scizor, or rather regular Scizor here, so that I have a constant stream of Scizors. I will force my opponent to go through 3 Mega Scizors if I can. And okay, now I'll play a Trainer's Mail. An ideal card would be a Lysander here, but I don't find it, so I will keep the Mega Turbo because I do have energy. Yep, okay, that's good. And we get a clean Lysander, or Sycamore rather. basically I need Lysanders to hopefully either make sure I 2-hit KO the Greninjas, or to be able to KO Frogadiers on the bench, which are clean KOs. Okay, we get our 7 cards to find more energy, which is obviously great. Maybe even our 4th Scizor could be good here. I wonder if retreating and attacking with the new Scizor would be better. I don't think so. I'll just soak up the damage of the Bursting Balloon. That's 2 Bursting Balloons gone. That's definitely 2 Bursting Balloons gone. I could also get rid of the stadium, but I think getting rid of the energy is more important here, because I don't want him getting back the Greninja line, and I can simply get rid of the stadium next turn, which is pretty good for us. Okay, this is going to be really interesting. There's another dive ball for another Greninja. He's obviously going to retreat and attack with that other Greninja for the KO. We do not find a Lysander, but yeah. Okay. Basically, I cannot allow my opponent to heal off enough damage off of this Greninja break so that I do not 2-hit KO it afterwards. There's already 1 stadium in the discard. This stadium will be in the discard next turn. And there's the energy. Okay. He will play an Ace Trainer though, which sucks. That really sucks. That really sucks. Okay. No abilities also means that I could potentially retreat a 3rd Mega Scizor. We could not have asked for a better 3 cards off of the Ace Trainer. Generally we could not have, and we will not be able to be Ace Trainered next turn. Okay, gonna promote Garbodor just for now. Fortunately, Gale Thrust doesn't do 80 more damage. It only deals 60 more damage, so we cannot KO Greninja. We cannot 1-hit KO Greninja. The Bursting Balloon extra damage is what's really going to make a difference here for my opponent, I think. That's what's really going to make a difference. Okay. So I'm going to retreat, promote the Mega Scizor. Still no Lysander for us. I don't think it's too big a deal. I do want to discard the stadium, that's for sure. We want to force my opponent to play all of his stadiums and eventually get rid of all of them. Which could mean that maybe our 2nd Parallel City could stick eventually. He does immediately retreat, promote the other Greninja, promotes the other Greninja. Has another Bursting Balloon, but that's a bad play, because he will deal 80 damage, and then I attack into the Bursting Balloon, and that's 60 more damage, and I will be at 200 damage. He even goes for the Ace Trainer, but he cannot play it. That's another mistake. That's 2 mistakes in a row for my opponent. 2 mistakes. And yeah, the Bursting Balloon maths. Basically, 2 Moonlight Slashes is 80 plus 80, 160. Plus 1 Bursting Balloon, that's 220, and that's an exact KO on Mega Scizor. But by attaching that Bursting Balloon there, he's essentially wasting the damage, because he will still need a 2nd attack to KO Mega Scizor. So what he just did there generally makes no sense. Okay. Unless... That's interesting. That is definitely an interesting move. That means he might be lacking in energy. No, there's no reason not to return the energy. Like, my opponent is misplaying so much. I'm gonna try and get rid of his energy. I do flip heads, that's great. And now, because he did just that, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's my 7th energy. That is my 7th energy. If I retreat, yeah, I think I'm going to retreat here. No. I'm not entirely sure. Because if my opponent does Ace Trainer, we will be pretty okay. Okay, I'm gonna attach the Flowstone here because we do not have a third Mega Scizor, and I will eventually want to end my opponent. So I'm just gonna Iron Crusher here. Take the 60 damage, no big deal. But my opponent definitely played the previous turn quite badly, I think. Quite badly. Now everything is in range of Iron Crusher, which is obviously great. His Ace Trainer is completely useless, especially because he will take a price right now. If he does have energy. If he doesn't have energy, that would be really surprising. But if you don't have energy, then why would you keep the energy in play rather than get it back to your hand? No clue. Okay, he attaches a Splash Energy. I do not mind that at all because I can't get rid of it. If he keeps it there, which he will, given how he's been playing. Okay, so basically my opponent would have a lot better chance if he weren't making so many mistakes. But now I am going to end him down to 2. I will Ultra Ball away the Trainer's Mail and the Shaman. Okay, there's a Mega Turbo, there's Tinkler Grunt, there's 1 Sycamore, 2 Crushings, there's still Stadium, 2 Energies, and both of my Lysanders are still there. Okay, and I'm just gonna end here. We know 1 energy is priced, so that's something to take into consideration. There's no need to play the Crushing Hammer. I'm just gonna play the energy right there. And I'm going, well, yeah. No. I need to use Iron Crusher because I want to get rid of the energy so that he doesn't recover the Pokemon. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that works that way because the game, the way an attack works is you resolve all effects of attacks and then you check for the KO. So by doing that, or by doing what I just did, I discard the Splash Energy and then it checks for the KO, and because Greninja gets KO'd and it doesn't have any energy, that's why it goes to a discard pile. And yeah, my opponent does find the break, but he doesn't find an energy. So yeah, this should be game. This definitely should be game. I'm not gonna Ultra Ball, I guess. I'm just gonna Iron Crusher for the KO once again. Maybe getting rid of energy will be useful at some point, I do not know. And thus, like maybe he will find a Froakie and start going for bubbles, so removing the energy off of the Froakie could be useful. So it's basically trying to... There's a Froakie, so it's basically trying to work out every scenario possible. Okay, so he does end us. And now he could find an energy, so having some sort of energy removal is definitely nice here. Does use Super Rod. Does use Super Rod. Puts back a Frogadier, a Break, and an energy. Promotes the Froakie and passes. Okay, that's perfectly fine. You even top deck another Crushing Hammer. I'm just gonna Iron Crusher here, and this should generally be game at this point. Even if he finds the energy to start attacking with a Break and things like that, between both Mega Scizor and the regular Scizor, should deal enough damage. He has another N, but the only way he survives is with a Rough Seas. That's the only way, and he doesn't. So that's perfect. That is perfect. And now he decides to return the energy. So yeah, definitely if you're locked down by Garbodor, you should always return the energy. Unless you're afraid of N and your Pokemon is not in any sort of threat of getting KO'd, then maybe you can make an argument to keep the energy. But just the way the math worked in that matchup, and based off of the energy denial that you know a deck like Mega Scizor should have, or you should expect. Makes no sense to do the plays he did. But anyways, that's it from me, guys. Longer than 1 hour video. And yeah, hopefully you guys saw the true power of Mega Scizor. That game against Mega Rayquaza, I think we win it more times than not, but it turns out we didn't win it this time. And yeah, that's gonna be it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow in the Spanish video for more Mega Scizor EX action, or on Wednesday with a brand new Volcanion deck, which you can see right here, and then on Friday with the Pokedex Mega Charizard deck. Thank you so much, and bye bye.